How to develop structured thinking. Every day, a sea of decisions stretches before us. Some are small and unimportant, while others have a significant impact on our lives. We decide what to believe, what to pursue, and how to respond to challenges. However, most people do not actually think in a structured way. They simply react. They solve problems without understanding their causes. They memorize answers without understanding systems. They copy ideas instead of creating their own. As a result, they remain trapped in the same patterns of behavior. To truly grow, we must develop structured thinking, a way of understanding reality that allows us to create outcomes instead of merely reacting to situations. Why most thinking fails. Most people think situationally, not structurally. They focus on immediate events rather than the underlying systems that produce those events. A company fixes a problem but later faces the same issue again. A person starts a diet but eventually returns to old habits. Organizations grow, then collapse, then rebuild, and collapse again. These repeated cycles occur because people attempt to change results without changing the structure that produces them. The underlying structure of anything determines its behavior. If the structure remains the same, the behavior will also remain the same. This explains why many efforts at change fail. New strategies, new policies, or new solutions may appear promising, but if the underlying structure does not support them, the system will eventually reject them. Problem solving, therefore, is not the same as creating. You can eliminate all your problems and still not achieve what you truly want. Structured thinking shifts the focus from reacting to problems toward understanding and designing the systems that produce outcomes. From problem thinking to creative thinking. There are two fundamental ways of thinking. The first is problem-oriented thinking, which focuses on fixing errors and reacting to difficulties. This approach keeps people in a constant state of crisis. The second is structured thinking, which focuses on outcomes and underlying causes. Instead of asking, "How do I fix this problem?" structured thinkers ask, "What outcome do I want? Where am I now? What structure connects my current reality to my desired result?" This creates what is known as structural tension, the gap between the current state and the desired state. This tension is not stress or anxiety. Rather, it is a natural force that drives progress. When properly understood, it motivates movement toward improvement and resolution. The first step: start with nothing. Structured thinking begins with a difficult but powerful discipline, starting with nothing. This does not mean forgetting everything you know. Instead, it means approaching a situation without assumptions, preconceptions, or automatic conclusions. Most people rely on comparative thinking. They compare new information with what they already know. However, this is not true thinking. It is merely categorizing. Great scientific discovery begins with curiosity rather than certainty. Instead of starting with a theory, the structured thinker begins with a question. By suspending assumptions, we allow reality to reveal itself more clearly. Seeing reality clearly. Another essential element of structured thinking is accurate observation. People often see what they expect to see rather than what actually exists. Their concepts replace their observations. Structured thinkers discipline themselves to observe reality as it is. They build clear mental pictures, identify relationships, and separate facts from interpretations. They focus on what is present instead of what they assume should be present. Without clear observation, genuine understanding is impossible. And without understanding, meaningful change cannot occur. Asking better questions. Structured thinking also requires disciplined questioning. Effective thinking depends on asking the right kinds of questions. Information questions expand understanding by gathering more details. Clarification questions define meaning and remove ambiguity. Implication questions reveal hidden assumptions and consequences. Discrepancy questions identify contradictions and inconsistencies. Together, these questions help uncover bias, clarify reality, and reveal the structures behind behavior. This process reflects the essence of critical thinking, examining ideas carefully rather than accepting them automatically. Thinking in the age of artificial intelligence. The importance of structured thinking has increased in the modern world. In the past, education focused on teaching people how to answer questions. Today, machines can provide answers instantly. Information is abundant, but independent thinking is rare. The real value of a person is no longer the ability to recall information, but the ability to generate insight. People must learn how to evaluate information, question assumptions, and create new ideas. In a world where anyone can ask artificial intelligence for solutions, the most important skill is knowing how to think for yourself. Training the mind to create. Structured thinking develops mental flexibility. It trains the mind to handle unfamiliar problems, imagine new possibilities, and move beyond fixed assumptions. Instead of depending on existing systems, structured thinkers learn to design their own. Ultimately, the goal of learning is not to depend on instruction forever, but to become capable of independent thought. When a person develops structured thinking, they gain the ability to learn anything, adapt to any challenge, and create meaningful change. Structured thinking is more than a skill. It is a way of understanding reality. It requires us to understand structure rather than symptoms, to begin without assumptions, to observe carefully, to ask disciplined questions, and to focus on creating outcomes. Those who understand structure do not merely react to the world, they shape it.